Hi, everyone. Quick one for you. Make sure you subscribe and like before we start. Thank you. I always thought my life was stable, predictable even. I'm 36, an accountant, and married to Mia for the last 7 years. We live in a comfortable house in the suburbs, surrounded by people we know well. From the outside, everything looks fine. Our friends call us the perfect couple. No kids yet, but we talked about it. Well, I talked about it. Lately, though, things have felt off. Mia's been working late more often than usual. I tried to ignore it at first. Everyone goes through rough patches, I told myself. She's a marketing executive, always busy with clients, meetings, and late-night pitches. It wasn't unusual at first. I trusted her. I never thought to question where she was or who she was with. But recently there's been this feeling gnawing at me, like an itch I can't scratch. Something isn't right. She comes home later and later, smelling of perfume that isn't hers, looking exhausted in ways that don't match a long day at the office. I mention it casually, "You're working too hard." She just smiles, brushes it off, says the same thing every time. "It's the job. I'm doing this for us." I want to believe her. I want to let it go, but it's there, sitting at the back of my mind. Last night, I picked her up from one of her late-night meetings at a hotel downtown. I didn't think anything of it. I drove into the lot, texted her that I'd arrived, and waited. 5 minutes, 10, 15 passed, and there was no sign of her. I started to feel that familiar tightening in my chest, that unease. When she finally appeared, she was talking to someone, a man in a suit, standing a little too close. I squinted but couldn't see his face. She glanced my way, almost like she didn't want to be caught. Then she smiled, kissed him on the cheek, and walked to the car. I didn't say anything at first. I just sat there, gripping the steering wheel tighter than I should have. When she got in, I asked, "Who was that?" "Just a client," she replied too quickly. "Nothing important." Her tone was dismissive, like it didn't matter, but the tension hung between us, thick and suffocating. I nodded, trying to swallow the growing doubt. As we were driving away, I couldn't shake the image of her with that man. She was too familiar with him. Something was wrong, and I knew it. But I stayed quiet, hoping my instincts were wrong. I didn't want to be that guy, the paranoid husband who sees ghosts where there aren't any. But the truth was there, lurking in the shadows. When we got home, Mia went straight to bed. I stayed up, pacing around the living room, replaying the evening in my mind. That feeling of unease just wouldn't leave. I couldn't sleep, couldn't stop thinking about that man. Today, I decided to pick her up again. Same hotel. She didn't know I was there early, parked a few blocks away. I watched the entrance, feeling like a stalker, but I had to know. It was around 9 when I saw her. She was laughing with a different man this time, her hand resting on his arm as they walked out of the lobby. I got out of the car, my heart pounding. I walked toward the entrance, pretending like I was a guest, not some idiot spying on his wife. Inside, the manager greeted me, asking if I needed help. I pointed out the window to Mia, who was now walking away, her back to me. "See that woman?" I said, my voice steady, but my insides churning. "The one in the black dress." "She's stunning, right?" The manager raised his eyebrows, then smiled, leaning closer as if we were sharing some kind of inside joke. "Oh, her, she's a regular. Charges $1,000 an hour if you're interested." He slid a business card into my hand like he was offering me a drink special. I stared at him, my mind going blank. What? I couldn't process it. The words didn't make sense. "You know," he continued casually, as if this was nothing unusual, "if you want to book her, just give that number a call. She's one of the best." I felt like the ground had opened up beneath me. My mouth went dry and my heartbeat pounded in my ears. The card in my hand felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. I couldn't breathe. I stood there frozen while the world tilted around me. This had to be a mistake. There was no way Mia, my wife, was involved in something like this. But the manager's smirk, the casual way he spoke about her, said otherwise. My reality shattered in that moment. Everything I thought I knew about my wife, my marriage, my life, it all crumbled in an instant. I pocketed the card, not knowing what else to do, and walked out of the hotel, my mind racing. I drive home in silence, gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles are white. The manager's words replay in my head over and over. She charges $1,000 an hour. It doesn't make sense. I don't want to believe it. Mia, my wife, an escort? It's absurd. It has to be a mistake. But the card in my pocket says otherwise. When we get home, Mia heads upstairs without a word, claiming she's exhausted from the meeting. I barely managed to mumble something in return, my voice caught in my throat. I need answers, but I can't confront her yet, not like this. I'm still too rattled, trying to make sense of it all. My head is spinning and my heart is pounding in my chest. The betrayal hasn't fully sunk in, but the anger is there, simmering beneath the surface. I sit in the living room for what feels like hours, staring at the business card, flipping it over in my hand. It's real. There's a number, a website. I could call it right now, but what would that do? Would they confirm everything I'm afraid of? That my wife, the woman I've loved for years, who I thought I knew, has been living a double life? Eventually, I can't stand the silence anymore. I go upstairs, slipping quietly into our bedroom. Mia's already asleep, or pretending to be. I watch her for a moment, her face peaceful, relaxed. How can she slay so easily while my world is falling apart? I feel a surge of resentment, but I push it down. I need proof. Cold, undeniable proof. My emotions won't control me. I refuse to be the guy who acts impulsively, throwing accusations without anything to back them up. That's not who I am. I'm smarter than that. I wait until I'm sure she's deeply asleep, her breathing slow and even. Then I grab her phone from the nightstand. My hands are shaking, but I force myself to be methodical. I unlock the phone. It's easy. I've seen her password 100 times. I go through her messages first. Nothing suspicious, just the usual texts with friends, family, and coworkers. But that doesn't mean anything. She could be using another phone, another number. I check her emails next, scanning for anything unusual, any sign of double dealings, but again, it's clean. I feel my frustration building, and for a moment, I wonder if I'm losing my mind. Maybe I misread everything. Maybe the manager was wrong or lying, but no, I can't let myself be lulled into false security. Something is going on. I feel it deep in my gut. And if she's careful enough to cover her tracks, I'll just have to dig deeper. I put the phone back and lie down beside her, staring at the ceiling. My thoughts are a mess, tangled with suspicion, doubt, and anger. I can't confront her yet, not until I know more. But the next step is clear. I pull out the business card again, running my thumb over the embossed lettering. I've got to make the call. The next morning, Mia leaves early, claiming another meeting. I don't say much, just nod, playing along. She kisses me on the cheek and I feel a sick churn in my stomach. I don't recognize this woman anymore. As soon as she's out the door, I dial the number from the card. A woman answers, her voice professional, detached. I hesitate for a second, unsure how to phrase the question. Then I just come out with it. I'm calling about Mia. There's a brief pause. And what's your interest? She asks, her tone sharp. I clench my jaw. I was told she works for you. There's a silence on the other end. I can hear the faint tapping of a keyboard, as if she's checking something. Yes, she's available. Standard rate applies. I feel like I've been punched in the gut. It's true. It's all true. My vision blurs with rage, but I force myself to stay calm. How long has she worked for you? I'm sorry, sir. I can't disclose that. Would you like to make an appointment? I hang up without another word, my hand trembling as I toss the phone onto the couch. It feels like the room is spinning around me. The betrayal is real now, undeniable. Mia has been living a secret life, lying to me, hiding things from me for God knows how long. My first instinct is to confront her, to demand answers, to scream. But no, I need to be smarter than that. If she's capable of lying to my face for years, she's capable of a lot more. I pace the room, my mind racing. I need to think clearly, to plan. I can't just explode. I need to know how deep this goes, how many lies she's told, and I need to find a way to turn this around on her. There's no way I'm going to let her ruin my life without consequences. Later that night, when Mia comes home, I'm ready. I've decided to play it cool, to act like nothing's changed. If she senses I know something, she'll go on the defensive and I need her off guard. "How was your day?" I ask, forcing a smile as she walks into the kitchen. She shrugs, setting her bag down. "Same as usual. Busy. You?" "Pretty normal," I lie, trying to keep my voice even. "We should plan a weekend away, just the two of us." Her smile falters for a split second before she recovers. "Yeah, that would be nice." I watch her carefully, looking for any sign of guilt, but she's too smooth. If I didn't know what I know, I'd believe her. She's good at this. Too good. But now I have the upper hand. I know her secret, and I'm not going to let her destroy me. Not without a fight. That night, I confront her. I don't accuse her outright. Instead, I ask probing questions. "Do you ever feel like we're drifting apart?" I ask, my voice calm. "Like we're not as close as we used to be?" She looks at me, her eyes narrowing slightly. "What are you talking about?" "Everything's fine." I can hear the defensiveness in her tone, but I press on. "I don't know. You've been working late a lot. We don't talk like we used to. I just feel like something's off." She rolls her eyes, turning away. "You're overthinking. I'm just busy, that's all." Busy. That word hangs in the air between us like a ticking bomb. I let it go for now, but I've planted the seed. She knows I'm suspicious, and that's exactly what I want. Let her think she's in control. Let her believe she's fooling me. I've got time. I'll play the long game. Over the next few days, I start gathering more information. I check her phone again, her emails, her calendar. Nothing out of the ordinary. She's good at hiding her tracks, but I know there's more to uncover. I need real proof, something I can use against her, and I'll find it. One night after she's gone to bed, I sit in the living room, staring at the phone in my hand. I could hire a private investigator, someone who could follow her, track her movements, dig up the dirt I need. It feels like a dirty move, but I'm past caring. She's the one who turned this into a game, and I'll do whatever it takes to win. By the end of the week, I've made the call. The PI I hired is discreet, professional. He doesn't ask questions, just promises results. "I'll find out everything you need to know," he says, and I believe him. Now I wait. The anger inside me simmers, but I channel it into focus, into action. I won't let her get away with this. She thinks she's safe, that she's playing me, but she has no idea. I'm going to expose her, ruin her, and take back control of my life. This isn't about love anymore. It's about revenge. The waiting is the hardest part, but it's also necessary. I need to be patient, calculated. This is a war, and I'm preparing for battle. Every day I get closer to the truth, closer to Mia's destruction. I start gathering evidence like a man possessed. Every move is calculated. Every step brings me closer to the truth. This isn't just about uncovering Mia's betrayal anymore. It's about exposing her, destroying her. I can't think about anything else. It consumes me. The private investigator I hired sends me updates daily. It's worse than I thought. She's not just seeing a few men on the side. She's deep in it. Secret meetings, expensive dinners, hotels. She's careful, though. She covers her tracks well, but not well enough. I start tracking her movements myself. I follow her when I can, watch her as she leaves the house with that same calm, collected expression, as if she's going to another late-night meeting. But I know better now. I know where she's really going. I document everything. Photos, timestamps, screenshots. The evidence piles up, undeniable proof of her double life. I've even got a video clip of her entering one of the hotels, wearing that dress I bought her for our anniversary. It's a sick twist, a mockery of the life we shared. But I don't let the anger overwhelm me. I stay focused. Mia starts to sense that something's off. She's always been sharp, and now she's watching me. Her smiles feel more strained, her questions a little too probing. "Is everything okay with you?" she asked one evening, her eyes narrowing slightly as we sit at the dinner table. I smile back, forcing the same ease she's shown me all these months. Yeah, just work stress, nothing to worry about. I keep my voice light, casual, but I can see her suspicion growing. She's on edge too, and it's only a matter of time before she figures out that I'm onto her. But by then, it'll be too late. The private investigator's latest report includes something new. Mia isn't just sleeping with wealthy clients. She's connected to a larger network. Some of these people are powerful. Lawyers, politicians, a judge. This goes deeper than just infidelity. She's involved in something darker, and now I've stumbled into it. I meet the PI at a quiet cafe downtown. He hands me a file, his face grim. This isn't just about her cheating, you know that, right? These people, they don't play games. I don't care who they are, I say, my voice cold. I just want enough to bring her down. He nods, but there's a flicker of concern in his eyes. You need to be careful. If you push too hard, they'll come after you. I don't answer. I don't need to. I'm already in too deep to back out now. The next step is setting the trap. Mia thinks she's the one in control, that she can manipulate the narrative, but she's underestimated me. I start creating scenarios that force her to expose herself. Small things at first. I bring up her late nights in conversation, act like I'm concerned, planting the idea that I'm suspicious but not fully aware. I want her to panic, to make mistakes, and she does. It's subtle at first, but I see it. She starts texting more frequently, glancing over her shoulder when she's on the phone. She's careful, but the cracks are showing. I push further, dropping hints that I might know more than I'm letting on. I bring up our friends, ask her if she's noticed how distant they've become. She stiffens at that, realizing that her web of lies is slowly unraveling. Then one night I confront her with just enough to make her sweat. We're sitting in the living room, the tension between us thick and suffocating. Mia, I know you've been seeing someone, I say, my voice low, controlled. She freezes, her eyes widening for just a second before she regains her composure. What are you talking about? She laughs, but it's hollow, forced. I've seen you, Mia. I've followed you. I know about the hotels, the dinners. I lean forward, watching her closely. Her expression shifts, fear, anger, and then something else. Calculation. She doesn't deny it this time. Instead, she leans back, crossing her arms. So what? You're not exactly perfect yourself, are you? The accusation catches me off guard. What the hell are you talking about? You think I don't know about you and Lauren? Or the way you've been sneaking around behind my back? Don't act like you're some victim here. Lauren, my coworker? The accusation is absurd, but it hits me. Mia's flipping the script. She's trying to paint me as the cheater. I can see it in her eyes, the way she's already forming the narrative in her head. If she can't defend her own actions, she'll destroy me with lies. I laugh, shaking my head. You really think that's going to work? I have proof, Mia. I've been collecting it for weeks. She stiffens, her eyes narrowing. What proof? Photos, videos, emails, everything. For the first time, I see real fear in her eyes. She knows I'm serious, but then, just as quickly, she recovers. You have no idea who you're messing with. Do you really think you can win this? She leans closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. You have no idea how far this goes. It's a threat, and I know she means it, but I don't back down. I don't care. You're done, Mia. The next few days are a blur of tension and cold silence. We barely speak, both of us waiting for the other to make the next move. I feel her watching me constantly, like she's trying to figure out how much I really know. But I stay calm, focused. I've set the trap, and now I'm just waiting for her to fall into it. One night, when she's out again, I receive an email from the private investigator. It's not just more photos or hotel check-ins. It's something bigger. Financial records, offshore accounts, payments linked to her clients, including that judge. The trail is clear, and it's damning. This isn't just about infidelity anymore. It's fraud, corruption, and worse. I'm sitting on a goldmine of evidence, but it's dangerous too. I'm not dealing with just Mia now. These are powerful people, and if I go public with this, I'm putting myself at risk. I could expose her, destroy her career, her reputation, but I could also bring a lot of heat down on myself. I sit in the dark, staring at the files, weighing my options. I could leak this anonymously, let it burn her life to the ground without getting directly involved. But part of me wants more. I want her to know it was me. I want her to feel it, to see the destruction I've caused, just like she did to me. The next morning, I get a call from Mia. Her voice is sharp, tense. We need to talk. I meet her at a cafe near our house. She's already there when I arrive, sitting stiffly at a corner table. As soon as I sit down, she cuts to the point. What do you want? I don't flinch. I want you to admit what you've done, and I want you out of my life. She laughs, but it's brittle, forced. You think it's that simple? You're not the only one with dirt, you know. I can ruin you too. I lean forward, lowering my voice. I've got enough to bury you, not just the cheating, Mia, everything. The money, the clients, the judge. The money, I could take this to the police right now, and you know what would happen. Her face pales, but she doesn't back down. If you go down that road, I'll take you with me. You'll lose everything. Your job, your reputation, everything. I'll make sure of it. We stare at each other, locked in a silent battle. I know she's capable of it. I've seen how manipulative she can be, how easily she twists the truth. But I also know that I'm not going to back down. I've come too far. Finally, she breaks the silence. What do you want? She repeats, but this time there's a hint of desperation in her voice. I smile, leaning back. It's simple. I want you to disappear, quietly. No drama, no legal battles. You walk away and I won't release what I have. For a moment, she looks like she's considering it. Then she shakes her head, a cold smile creeping across her face. You think you've won? This isn't over. I'll see you in court. With that, she gets up and walks away, leaving me sitting there with the full weight of her threat hanging in the air. She's not going down without a fight. But I'm ready for whatever comes next. I'm ready to take her down, no matter the cost. I start planning my next move. If she wants to drag this into court, I'll be ready. I'll gather everything I need, every shred of evidence, every lie she's told. And when the time comes, I'll unleash it all. But then something unexpected happens. A week later, I get a call from one of her former clients. He's heard about what's going on, and he's not happy. Apparently, Mia's burned a few bridges along the way, and he's willing to help me take her down. He has information, details about her dealings that even I didn't know about. It's risky, though. This guy isn't exactly trustworthy, and getting involved with him could complicate things even more. But I'm out of options. If I want to win this, I need all the help I can get. So I take the risk. I meet with him, listen to what he has to offer. And as he lays out the full scope of Mia's betrayal, I realize just how deep this goes. This isn't just about revenge anymore. It's about survival. I'm all in now, and there's no turning back. Mia's going down one way or another. And when it's over, I'll be the one standing. Everything's in place. My plan, months in the making, is ready to blow wide open. But I can feel the danger creeping in. Mia's not just some cheating wife with secrets. She's connected. Her allies, her clients, are more powerful than I anticipated. This has gone beyond personal revenge. I'm messing with people who have more to lose than I realized. The file on Mia's client list sits in front of me. I've combed through it 100 times, connecting names to faces, linking each to shady deals and cover-ups. A judge, a high-powered attorney, a senator. These are the people she's been entertaining, and it's no coincidence that her sudden rise in her career happened as she got more involved with them. This network of influence, corruption, and lies is a fortress, and I'm about to throw a grenade into the heart of it. I sit back, my eyes on the ceiling, mind racing. How far am I willing to go? I could go public with everything. Leak it all at once. Let the media have a field day. That would take her down, no doubt. But that's not my style. I don't want collateral damage. I want precision. I want Mia to feel the walls closing in, step by step, until she has no escape. The phone buzzes. It's a text from the private investigator. Got more info. You're not gonna like it. Call me. I call immediately, heart pounding. It's deeper than we thought, the PI says. His voice is flat, professional, but I can hear the urgency. Mia's been funneling money through a couple of offshore accounts. Big sums. It's tied to her clients. Some of it is hush money, bribes, stuff that could take down some serious players. How much money are we talking? I ask, keeping my voice steady, though my stomach churns. Millions. It's bad, man. And there's more. She's connected to a judge who's been protecting her, keeping this whole operation under wraps. A cold sweat breaks out on my skin. This isn't just infidelity, it's a criminal empire. If I go public with this, I say, they'll come after me. Exactly, you have to be careful. These people don't play around. I hang up, staring at the file on my desk. Everything's in there, names, dates, financial records, enough to take them all down. But now I know why Mia's been so confident. She's got a judge in her pocket, someone who can crush me before I even get close to exposing her. I need a new angle. One wrong move and I'm not just dealing with a cheating wife anymore. I'm up against a machine that could destroy my life in more ways than one. My mind races, calculating risks, but my focus remains sharp. I've come too far to back down now. I decide to start leaking pieces of the evidence, testing the waters, seeing how Mia reacts. I send an anonymous tip to a journalist I know. Just a small piece, enough to stir the pot without implicating myself. The story gets picked up, but it's buried quickly, almost like it never happened. The judge's influence is strong. Mia confronts me that night. She's furious, more so than I've ever seen her. It's late, the house is quiet, and the tension between us is palpable. You think you're smart? She hisses, standing over me as I sit at the kitchen table. I know it was you. That story in the papers? It's your pathetic attempt to drag me down. I don't flinch. I've been expecting this. You're scared, aren't you? You know what's coming. You have no idea what I'm capable of, she snaps. Her face is a mask of cold fury, but underneath I see the fear. She's unraveling. Good. Let her squirm. She leans in closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. If you keep pushing this, I'll ruin you. You think those little pieces of evidence will help you? I'll twist it all. I'll turn everyone against you. I'll make sure you lose everything. I've already lost everything, I say quietly, meeting her gaze. And now I've got nothing left to lose. The threat doesn't faze her, but I can tell it's getting to her. The balance of power is shifting, and she knows it. She storms out, slamming the door behind her, but I stay seated, unmoved. She's on the defensive now. It's only a matter of time before she makes a mistake. Over the next week, I continue feeding small bits of evidence to the press, letting the story build momentum. Mia's public image is starting to crack, but her high-profile clients are still protecting her, keeping the worst of it from surfacing. It's frustrating, but I'm patient. I know I have more than enough to finish this. I just need the right moment. Then I get a surprise visit from someone I didn't expect, one of Mia's former clients. The man's name is Tom, a high-powered CEO who's been burned by Mia. He shows up at my office unannounced, looking nervous but determined. I need to talk to you, he says, his eyes darting around as if he's afraid of being followed. It's about Mia. I nod, gesturing for him to sit. I'm listening. She's not just sleeping with these guys for money. She's blackmailing them. She has dirt on all of us. Me, the judge, the senator. If this gets out, we're all finished. But she's got a plan. She's going to shift the blame onto you. I feel a chill run down my spine. What do you mean? She's setting you up. She's already filed for divorce, and she's going to claim you've been abusive, that you've been embezzling money. She has fake documents, everything. If you don't stop her now, she'll destroy you. Tom looks desperate, but I can't help but wonder if this is another manipulation, another trap. Why are you telling me this? I ask, narrowing my eyes. What's in it for you? He hesitates, then sighs. I'm already screwed, but if she goes down, I want to make sure I'm not the only one. She's going to take us all with her unless you stop her. I consider his words carefully. This could be a trap, but he seems genuine, and I need all the leverage I can get. What do you have for me, boss? Tom pulls out a folder, sliding it across the table. Financial records, emails, photos, proof of her blackmail scheme. This should be enough to turn the tide. I flip through the documents, solid evidence, the kind that could blow this whole thing wide open. But it's risky. If I use this, Mia will come after me with everything she's got. You realize that if I go through with this, you're going down too, I say. He nods, his face grim. I'm already down. Just take her with me. I look at the folder again, weighing my options. This is it, the final piece I need to end this once and for all. But it comes with a cost. If I go public with this, it'll be a bloodbath. Mia, her clients, the judge, it'll all come crashing down, but I'll be dragged into the mud too. I tell Tom to leave, promising to be in touch. After he's gone, I sit alone in my office, staring at the folder. The weight of the decision presses down on me. I could end this now, expose her, and bring it all to light, but I know what that means. Once I pull the trigger, there's no going back. I go home that night, and Mia's waiting for me, her expression unreadable. She knows something's changed. She can sense it. We need to talk, she says, her voice unusually calm. I follow her into the living room where she pours herself a glass of wine, then sits down across from me. I know you've been leaking things to the press, she says, sipping her wine, and I know you think you can win this. But let me be clear, you can't. I say nothing, waiting for her to continue. I've already filed for divorce. I've spoken to the lawyers. By the end of this, you'll be penniless, discredited, and alone. Your so-called evidence won't stand up in court. I've covered in my tracks. But if you back off now, we can settle this quietly. No drama, no headlines. I'll even give you a decent payout. I watch her carefully, trying to read her. She's confident, too confident. She thinks she's still in control, that she can manipulate me like she always has. But I see the cracks. I see the desperation underneath her calm exterior. You're scared, I say, leaning forward. You wouldn't be offering me anything if you weren't. Her eyes flash with anger, but she quickly hides it, smiling instead. Scared of you, please. I'm just offering you a way out. I shake my head slowly. There's no way out for you, Mia, not anymore. I stand up, walking to the door. I'll see you in court. She glares at me as I leave, but I can feel her fear. She knows it's over. And now, so do I. The trial is brutal. Mia's team throws everything at me. False accusations of a bone, fake financial records, even doctored emails. They paint me as a monster, a manipulative husband trying to destroy his innocent wife. It's sickening to watch, but I expected it. I knew this wouldn't be easy. But I'm ready. I have Tom's evidence, and I have the truth on my side. Slowly, methodically, I dismantle her case piece by piece. The judge, her ally, tries to block the worst of it, but there's only so much he can do. The evidence is too strong. In the end, it's Mia who breaks. During cross-examination, her lies start to unravel, and she can't keep up the charade. The court sees her for what she is, a manipulative, deceitful woman who's been running a scheme for years. When the final verdict is read, it's clear. Mia's finished. Her career, her reputation, everything she's built is gone. And the best part? She knows it was me who took her down. As I leave the courtroom, I feel a strange mix of emotions. Satisfaction, yes, but also a deep emptiness. I've won, but at what cost? Outside, Tom is waiting for me. He looks relieved but exhausted. You did it, he says, clapping me on the back. I nod, but the victory feels hollow. I've destroyed Mia, but I've destroyed a part of myself in the process. The path I've walked, the darkness I've embraced, it's changed me. And now I'm left to pick up the pieces of whatever's left. The fallout is slow at first, but it's happening. I watch as Mia's world starts to crumble piece by piece. Her once solid reputation is unraveling in front of her eyes. Rumors are swirling and people are talking. Clients are distancing themselves, and her name, once so untouchable, is being whispered in offices and corridors as a warning. I can see it in her face when she comes home. There's a tightness in her jaw, a tension in her shoulders that wasn't there before. She tries to keep up the facade, pretending like everything's normal, but I know her too well. I see through it all. The media has started digging into her background, her connections, and though nothing explosive has come out yet, it's only a matter of time. The evidence I've leaked has been strategic, just enough to plant doubt to make her look over her shoulder, to feel the ground under her shift, but not enough to tip her off completely. She's still trying to fight it, still holding on to the belief that she can somehow manage this. It's almost laughable. She hasn't realized how far I've already pushed her. One night, I find her in the kitchen, staring blankly at her phone. She's gripping it so tightly her knuckles are white. I know what's happening. Another client has cut ties. Another bridge burned. She doesn't notice me at first as I walk in, but when I sit at the table, she snaps out of it, her eyes narrowing as she meets my gaze. "Enjoying yourself?" she spits, her voice low, dangerous. I lean back in my chair, crossing my arms. What's that supposed to mean? She slams her phone on the counter, a bitter laugh escaping her. "Don't act like you're innocent. I know what you're doing. All these stories in the press, the rumors. It's all you, isn't it?" I don't respond immediately, letting the silence hang between us. Then I smile. "You think I'm behind your mess? You've been digging your own grave for years, Mia." Her eyes flash with anger, but there's something else too. Fear. She's slipping, and she knows it. "You're not going to win this," she says, her voice trembling. "You don't know the people I'm connected to. They'll destroy you." I stand up, walking slowly toward her. "You mean like how they're destroying you right now?" I ask, gesturing to her phone. "Face it, Mia. They've already started pulling away. No one wants to be tied to a sinking ship." She opens her mouth to say something, but the words die in her throat. I see it then, the crack in her armor. She's losing control, and there's nothing she can do about it. "Get out," she finally says, her voice barely above a whisper. "I don't want to see you right now." I don't move, standing there for a moment longer, watching her crumble. Then, without a word, I turn and leave the room. The satisfaction is there, but it's hollow. The next day, my lawyer calls. "Mia's lawyers are reaching out," he says, sounding both surprised and cautious. "They're talking settlement." I feel a cold satisfaction settle in my chest. Of course, she's trying to settle. Her options are shrinking, and she knows it. "What's on the table?" I ask. "She's willing to give you a significant portion of the assets, more than we expected. It's clear she wants this to go away quietly." I consider it. It's tempting. I could take the deal, walk away with more than I expected, and let her rot in her own mess. But part of me knows that this isn't about money anymore. This is about seeing it through to the end. If I settle now, she still walks away with something, still has a chance to rebuild. "Tell them no," I say, my voice firm. "We're not settling." There's a pause on the other end. "Are you sure?" "This could drag out for a long time if we don't take the offer." "I'm sure," I reply. "Let her squirm." The weeks drag on, but the tide continues to turn in my favor. Mia's clients are falling away one by one. The judge who once protected her is under investigation, thanks to a well-placed leak from Tom, Mia's former client. He's been feeding me information steadily, and with each new piece, her defenses crumble further. Mia tries to play the victim. She starts telling our mutual friends that I've been abusive, that I've been cheating on her for years, twisting the narrative to make herself look like the innocent party. But no one's buying it anymore. Her lies have caught up to her, and the more she talks, the more desperate she sounds. I can feel the shift in the air. She's running out of time. One afternoon, I get a message from Tom. It's short, to the point. "She's making a move, be ready." My heart pounds as I read the words. I knew it was coming, but now that it's here, The tension ratchets up another notch. Mia's backed into a corner, and that makes her dangerous. A few hours later, I get the call. My lawyer's voice is tense. Mia's filed a formal claim against you. She's accusing you of embezzlement from your joint accounts, saying you've been siphoning money for months. I don't even flinch. I knew this was coming. And, I ask, my voice calm, she submitted forged documents to back it up, he says. But don't worry, we've already got evidence that they're fakes. She's getting sloppy. I hang up, feeling a strange sense of calm wash over me. It's like watching the final act of a play where I already know the ending. She's scrambling, throwing everything she has left at me, but it's not enough. It's never been enough. The final confrontation comes sooner than I expected. Mia shows up at my office one evening unannounced, her eyes wild, her skin pale. She looks like she hasn't slept in days, and for the first time, I see the full weight of what she's become. You've ruined me, she says, her voice shaking as she steps into the room. Everything I've built, it's gone. And it's because of you. I stay seated behind my desk watching her, feeling nothing but cold detachment. You did this to yourself, Mia. Her eyes flash with anger, and she steps closer. You think this is over? You think I'm just going to roll over and let you destroy me? I lean forward, my gaze locked on hers. It is over. You have nothing left. She laughs then, a bitter, broken sound. You think you've won? You don't even know the half of it. I narrow my eyes, my body tensing. What are you talking about? Her smile fades and she looks at me with a mix of hatred and desperation. I've been talking to your clients, she says softly, telling them things, planting seeds. By the time I'm done, your reputation will be as ruined as mine. You'll lose everything. The threat hangs in the air between us, heavy and real. I know she's capable of it. I know she'll stop at nothing to drag me down with her, but I don't flinch. Do what you have to do, Mia, I say, my voice cold. But remember, I still have the rest of the evidence. All it takes is one phone call, and your little empire collapses for good. No one will ever take you seriously again. Her face crumbles at that, the last of her confidence shattering. She knows I'm right. She's out of options, and the reality of it is finally sinking in. For a moment, she stands there, her chest rising and falling with rapid breaths. Then, without another word, she turns and walks out, leaving me alone in the quiet of my office. I watch her go, a strange sense of finality settling over me. It's done. She's finished, and there's nothing more she can do to stop it. A few days later, the final blow lands. The judge who's been shielding her is formally indicted, and with him goes the last of her protection. The legal system that once seemed stacked against me shifts in my favor, and Mia is left standing in the wreckage of her life, alone. The court case drags on, but the outcome is inevitable. She loses everything: the money, the career, the reputation. By the time it's over, she's a shell of the woman she once was. I should feel satisfied. I should feel victorious. But as I walk away from the courthouse on the final day, all I feel is emptiness. The cost of my revenge weighs heavy on me. I've lost friends, distanced myself from family, and buried parts of myself I'll never get back. I've won, but at what price? In the weeks that follow, I try to rebuild, but it's harder than I thought. The revenge gave me purpose, a direction to pour all my rage and pain into. Now that it's done, I feel lost. I've become something else, someone else in the pursuit of justice. And while I've gotten what I wanted, I'm not the same man I was when this started. One night, I find myself standing in front of the mirror, staring at my reflection, wondering what comes next. I've destroyed Mia, but I've also destroyed pieces of myself along the way. Maybe this is the real cost of revenge, not just the destruction of your enemy, but the destruction of everything around you, including yourself. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know one thing. There's no going back now. I close my eyes, exhaling slowly, and walk away from the mirror. It's time to move forward, whatever that means. The final confrontation doesn't come with the dramatic flair I once imagined. It arrives quietly, unexpectedly, on a cold Wednesday afternoon. I'm in my office, staring at the documents spread out before me, the final piece of evidence I've held onto for months, the one that could ruin Mia for good. Financial records, emails, offshore accounts, everything I need to destroy her completely. I've won. There's no doubt about that. Mia's reputation is in tatters. Her allies have pulled away, and the press is already circling like vultures. The case against her is airtight, and there's nothing she can do to stop it. She's lost. But as I sit there staring at the proof of my victory, I feel hollow. It's not the satisfaction I expected. It's something else, something darker. My phone buzzes. It's a message from my lawyer. Mia's asking for a meeting. She wants to settle. I knew this was coming, but it still catches me off guard. She's finally realized there's no way out. Part of me wants to reject the offer immediately, to drag this out and watch her suffer even more. But another part of me is tired, exhausted really. This has been going on for so long, and I wonder if I have the energy to keep it up. I respond quickly. Set it up, I'll meet her. The meeting is arranged for that evening. Neutral ground, my lawyer's office. It's sterile, cold, just like the situation. I arrive early, wanting to get a feel for the room before she walks in. The space is quiet, too quiet, the kind of silence that amplifies every breath, every creak of a chair. I sit at the long table, fingers drumming against the polished wood, waiting. My lawyer is there, watching me carefully, but he doesn't say much. He knows this is personal, and there's nothing he can add that will change the outcome. Then the door opens. Mia steps in, flanked by her lawyer. She looks different, and it's not the confident, manipulative woman I've been battling for the past year. This version of Mia is broken. Her eyes are hollow, her skin pale, like she hasn't slept in days. The makeup she wears is heavier than usual, trying to mask the cracks, but it's failing. She sits across from me, her eyes meeting mine for the briefest of moments before she looks away. There's no greeting, no pleasantries, just tension. The lawyers exchange a few words, formalities mostly. The offer is on the table. A quiet settlement, no more leaks, no further press. She's willing to give up most of what's left, but she wants to keep her name out of any more headlines. She's desperate for this to end. Mia speaks first. Her voice is shaky, but she tries to hold it together. Let's not drag this out any longer. We can end this today cleanly. No more drama. I lean back, watching her carefully, my mind racing. There's a part of me that wants to agree, to take the offer and walk away. But another part of me remembers everything. Every lie, every manipulation, every betrayal. She tried to ruin me. She accused me of infidelity, abuse, and worse. She turned our friends against me, twisted the truth until I didn't recognize it anymore. And now she wants to settle. No, I say, my voice calm but firm. We're not done. Her lawyer shifts uncomfortably, but Mia doesn't flinch. She's expecting this. What do you want then? She asks, her eyes finally locking onto mine. I want you to admit what you did, I reply, leaning forward. I want you to tell the truth. For once. There's a long silence. Mia's face tightens, her eyes hardening, but I can see the cracks beneath the surface. She's on the edge of breaking, and we both know it. You want me to admit I cheated? She says, her voice cold. Fine, I had an affair. Several, actually. You happy now? I don't react. This isn't about the affairs anymore. It hasn't been for a long time. I want you to admit the rest, I say, my voice low. The blackmail, the fraud, the lies, all of it. Her jaw clenches, and for a moment I think she's going to explode, but instead she takes a deep breath, composing herself. I won't. You don't understand what you're asking. If I admit to that, I lose everything. You've already lost everything, I remind her. There's nothing left. She shakes her head, tears forming in her eyes, though she quickly blinks them away. No, I can rebuild. I can start over. But if you push this, if you force me to admit those things, it's over. I'll never recover. That's the point, I say coldly. Another long silence. Mia's lawyer leans in, whispering something in her ear, but she doesn't respond. She's staring at me, her eyes pleading. Please, she whispers, and it's the first time in all of this that I've heard real desperation in her voice. I'm begging you, let this end. For the first time, I hesitate. I've waited for this moment for so long, and now that it's here, I'm not sure how to feel. I've won. I've broken her. But the satisfaction I thought I'd feel isn't there. Instead, all I see in front of me is a hollow version of the woman I used to love. But that woman is gone. And what's left is the one who tried to ruin me, who lied and cheated and manipulated her way through our marriage. I can't forget that. I stand up, pushing the chair back, and the sound echoes through the room. We're done here, I say, my voice cold and final. Mia stands too, her eyes wide with panic. Wait, she starts, but I cut her off. I'll see you in court. Without another word, I walk out, leaving her standing there, broken and defeated. The courtroom is packed on the final day. The air is thick with tension, reporters buzzing around, waiting for the verdict. Mia sits across from me, her lawyer beside her arm, but she looks nothing like the confident woman she was when this all started. Her face is pale, her eyes dark and sunken. She doesn't meet my gaze. The judge reads the final ruling, and it's clear. Mia loses everything. The financial settlements, the reputation, the career, it's all gone. The blackmail charges stick, and though the more serious fraud charges don't lead to prison time, the damage is irreversible. I watch her as the reality sinks in. She's finished. And for the first time, I see it in her eyes, the realization that she's truly lost. As the courtroom clears, she approaches me. Her steps are slow, hesitant, and for a moment I think she might just walk past. But she stops in front of me, her voice barely a whisper. Is this what you wanted? I look at her, taking in the wreckage of the person I once knew. I didn't want this, I say quietly, but you left me no choice. She nods, her lips trembling, but she doesn't argue. I don't know how it came to this. Neither do I, really. There's no victory here, no celebration, just the aftermath of a long, bitter battle that's taken more from both of us than I ever imagined. She turns and walks away, her shoulders slumped, disappearing into the crowd. And just like that, it's over. Weeks pass and the dust begins to settle. The media moves on to the next scandal, the next story, leaving us in the shadows of what once was. I try to pick up the pieces of my life, but it's harder than I thought. The house feels empty, hollow. The friends I've lost, the relationships that have been strained, it all feels too heavy sometimes. But I keep going, keep pushing forward, because that's what I have to do. One night, I find myself standing in the kitchen, staring out the window at the quiet street below. The phone buzzes on the counter, but I don't pick it up. It's Tom, calling to check in. He's been a strange ally in all of this, but even that relationship feels tainted now. I pour myself a drink, the amber liquid swirling in the glass, and I wonder, was it worth it? I think about Mia, about the look in her eyes that last day in the courtroom, the desperation, the regret. And I realized something that I hadn't considered before. Revenge didn't fix anything. It didn't heal the scars or bring back the life I lost. It just left me standing here, alone, with nothing but the bitter taste of victory in my mouth. I down the drink, setting the glass on the counter, and walk to the window. The night is quiet, still, and I realize that I don't know what comes next. But maybe that's okay. Maybe it's time to figure it out. The next morning I wake up early, feeling the weight of everything lifting, if only slightly. The sun filters through the blinds, casting a soft glow over the room. I sit up, taking a deep breath. It's a new day, and for the first time in a long time, I don't feel the anger, the drive for revenge. I feel free. Maybe it's time to start again. The courtroom is behind me now. The dust settled, but the weight of everything I've done still hangs heavy. I walk away from the courthouse feeling a strange emptiness in my chest. I got what I wanted. Mia's life is in ruins, just like she tried to do to mine. Her career, her reputation, her allies, all gone. she's left with nothing. But the victory feels cold, hollow. I sit in my car for a moment, staring at the steering wheel, my hands gripping it tightly. I should feel relief. I should feel closure. But all I feel is the dull ache of what I've lost along the way. The person I used to be is gone, buried under months of planning, anger, and revenge. I drive home in silence, the world around me a blur. My mind keeps replaying everything had to be. That's happened are the lies, the betrayals, the moments where I had to make choices I never thought I'd face. Mia's face when she realized she'd lost everything. It's burned into my memory. I should feel satisfaction. Instead, all I feel is exhaustion. The house is quiet when I get there. It feels foreign now, like a place I no longer belong. The furniture, the photos on the walls, everything feels like remnants of a life that doesn't exist anymore. I walk through the empty halls, each step echoing in the silence. I stop in the kitchen, looking out the window at the street outside, the same street I've looked at for years. But nothing looks the same. I pour myself a drink and sit at the table, staring into the amber liquid. My thoughts are a tangled mess. Did I go too far? Could I have stopped before everything fell apart? But deep down, I know the answer. There was no stopping once I started down this path. Mia made her choices and I made mine. The difference is, I was better at the game. But now that the game's over, what's left? I take a sip, the alcohol burning its way down, but it doesn't numb the feeling gnawing at me. I've won, but at what cost? My friends are distant, my family wary of the man I've become. They don't understand what it took to get here, what it cost me to fight back against someone like Mia. And maybe they never will. The phone buzzes on the table. It's a message from Tom. You did it. She's finished. Let's grab a drink sometime. I stare at the screen, but I don't reply. Tom was helpful, sure, but he's a reminder of everything I had to align myself with to bring Mia down. He's part of the mess, and I don't want to be around that anymore. Not now. I put the phone down and lean back, closing my eyes. The silence in the house is deafening, and for the first time in months, I feel the weight of everything pressing down on me. I won, but the victory feels more like a loss. I lost Mia long before this started, but now I've lost myself too. The days pass and the world moves on. The media eventually finds new scandals to latch onto, and Mia's name fades from the headlines. The legal battles wrap up, the settlements are finalized, and she disappears from my life entirely. But the scars remain. I still catch myself thinking about her, about what we had before it all fell apart. Was any of it real? Or was it always built on lies? I go back to work, trying to pick up the pieces of my life, but it's not the same. My colleagues don't look at me the same way anymore. They know about the trial, the accusations, the drama. Even though I was vindicated, the stain of it all lingers. I see it in their eyes, the doubt, the distance. One night I run into an old friend at a bar, someone I haven't seen since before the whole ordeal. We make small talk, but it's awkward, forced. He doesn't mention Mia, but I can see the questions in his eyes. When he leaves, I sit there alone, nursing my drink, wondering if my life will ever feel normal again. I finish my drink and walk outside into the cool night air. The streets are quiet, the city lights casting long shadows on the pavement. I light a cigarette, something I haven't done in years, and take a deep drag, feeling the smoke burn in my lungs. The sensation is sharp, real, a reminder that I'm still here, still standing. But for what? I think about the future, about what comes next. But the truth is, I don't know. I've spent so long focused on bringing Mia down that I haven't thought about what happens after. The revenge gave me purpose, a direction. Now that it's done, I'm left standing at a crossroads, unsure of which way to go. But maybe that's okay. Maybe it's time to start over, to leave the wreckage of my old life behind and figure out who I am now. The man I was before is gone, and there's no bringing him back. But maybe, just maybe, I can rebuild. As I walk through the quiet streets, I feel a strange sense of peace settle over me. It's not joy or relief or even closure. It's something else. Acceptance. Acceptance that life doesn't always turn out the way we plan, that sometimes we lose ourselves along the way. But we keep moving forward because that's all we can do. The night air feels cool against my skin as I walk toward home. I don't know what the future holds, but for the first time in a long time, I'm ready to find out. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough.